Well, hello, everybody. Bobby, thanks for being here today.
Always a pleasure, Ed. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I can't complain. This is actually fun. I
Yeah.
enjoy doing this stuff. How's your week going?
It's going great, man. How about yours?
Yeah, I can't complain because nobody listens.
Yeah.
No, it's, everybody asks me, what's the Fed going to do? What they do this week? And it's to a point where don't even worry about what the Fed's doing. They got to do so much to get caught up and make it to where it slows down. But we had a kind of conversation with someone earlier this week, and we were talking about you have what the Fed does, and then you have what the legislation branch of the government does, right? And what they're doing, so the government is doing. So, but the problem is they're doing two separate things.
Uh-huh.
The government is printing more money as the Fed is trying to slow down that process.
Okay.
So what I'm getting at is it's going to take a lot longer, and it's going to get harder and worse before it gets better. But it's still going to happen sooner than later before you know it. So, because I know you're always asking me, what's rates? Let's talk about rates. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about rates because, they're just going to be negative. Well, this week today might be negative, but in a week from now, might be lower than that. Because that's a month ago, I was locking people in the low 4s, right? And then in the low 5s of conventional. This time we're a little bit high. We're a little bit higher than that. We'll just say that because I don't want to quote rates right now.
Yeah.
But don't worry about that. If you can afford the payment, don't worry about it. We can always refinance you later. Don't worry about where rates are now. Because a lot of people are like, I'm going to wait until the market drops more, right? Well, it's going to take a major war or other stuff, some major event more than what we're doing now to get this market to drop. We're in the worst inflation that we've been in for 42 years. They were saying that most people alive today, the average age of people alive today is 38. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. So this is the worst in 42 years. Average age is 38. So people 55 and younger have never seen this or don't remember this inflation like this before. So that's why, because I was wondering why so many people are so worried.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would mean that, that's why, because no one saw this before, right?
Yeah.
And so they're really nervous. And if you look at the 30-year-olds, all they've ever seen is low rates.
You see, I'm really blessed in my life, man, to have a lot of family members in their 80s.
I'm not talking depression, dude.
No, I'm just, hey, they saw the depression. They saw the different recessions over the years. So you ask, what I do is when things are questionable, I ask an old person.
Right.
And I say, hey, what do you think? This reminds me of the 80s. This reminds me of the Carter administration.
Right, but there is that, and that's what I said back in January and last year. That's what I saw. Right, coming was the 70s. However, we're in a situation we've never been in before. In the 70s, we didn't have a pandemic that we came out of, and then a government who's spending all this money for inflation reduction that has nothing to do with inflation reduction. I don't want to get political, but it's just you can't spend your way out of this recession.
No,
I mean out of this inflation. They're going to put us in a recession. It's going to get worse, but that doesn't mean not to buy, because if you look at all the numbers we've shown before on our show and go back on our YouTube channel and go to Bobby's YouTube channel, you'll see that we talked about during recessions, house values typically go up and rates go down. So it's not a bad thing. The reason rates dropped during those last 2 years as far as they did is because they shut off. The government shut everything down. Excuse me. And it was just done. There, we went straight down, and then they turned the spigot back on, and we went straight up. So we did a V recovery, they call that.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. We were in a recession. It's just the government stopped it and then restarted it, and that's the difference. And so what happened was rates dropped because people were worried, they didn't know what was going on. And then as things got better, rates went up because they had to, and because there's all this money chasing all these few goods. So we're in the same situation, but we've never really been here. So as I say, all of us say it's going to do this. We really don't know.
Yeah.
And so you can't focus on, stop listening. I think we talked about this before. Stop listening to the static out there, the noise. Do what's best for your family today, whatever that is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's really easy for folks to go ahead and listen to whatever the newscaster says, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like with any profession, you got to ask the people who are doing it daily, right? And I base everything on obviously the phone calls I'm getting, but also open houses. Open house is going to tell you where the interest, what the interest is in the market, right? Mm-hmm. So over the years, there's been times where I hold an open house at a nice listing and you might get 2 or 3 visitors, right? Now, of course, during COVID, they shut off open houses. They didn't allow that. And then the last year, it's been good, right? And you get flooded depending on the price point. Well, now even with houses over 500,000, closer to 6, I'm still seeing 7 to 8 families on a Saturday come through an open house. That's a lot of interest. I mean, I think people have woken up and said, like, you know what? I think at least the reality is a little different than what they're saying on the news in this area, right?
Right. I think and also I think this year, I think we talked about it on Tuesday about a lot more people were on vacation this year during June, July into August.
Yeah.
And in first part of September, before school started, everybody went away and came, and that's different than the last 2 years, but better than it was years prior. And that's what you have to focus on. What's this like prior to the pandemic, right? We're still in a market way better than 18, 19, 17, 20, all the way back. We're in a better market. Yes, rates are back to 2008 rates, which were fine. But it's, again, location. That's about real estate, where you buy, right? Different houses are going to have multiple offers. Other houses are not. If you're under 476, you have a lot of offers. If you're 500 and something, you might not have as many offers because you're conventional and VA only. Absolutely. And don't worry about that. You just have to, as a seller, understand. Don't get nervous. Don't go, how come no one's liking my house? It's a different market. It's totally different. It's like people go, when's getting back to a normal market? This is a normal market.
Yeah.
Having thousands of people rent through your house is not a normal market.
Well, I'm going to say, and for sellers, I like to have the conversation saying, like, let's not discuss if we have open house. Let's discuss when.
Right. And how many.
I mean, I like to think of it as like, hey, let's do an open house till we get in contract, because we want to give as many opportunities for people just off the street to come in, right? Because sometimes there's people in the neighborhood that might want to, move up, or they have someone else coming and they don't have an agent. So how are they going to get in the house unless I have an open house?
Right. And then that's what you're there for, right? As an open house person to help them out.
I mean, you lock up your valuables and don't leave anything sitting out, and you're going to be fine.
Right. Yeah, it's different. I mean, it's a different market. It's more normal. It's going to take, it's not going to sell in 48 hours like before. But we're also seeing more people going back to work, right? Mm-hmm. They have to go to work for a few days a week, if not all the days of the week. And as that happens, if people were commuting, you're going to see more and more people buying in the Bay Area again and selling here. So you're going to see more properties come on the market. But we're still, inventory wise, way lower than pre-pandemic. So we still haven't even got to pre-pandemic with the inventory, which is, people don't hear that. They only hear that things are slowing down and values are dropping. Well, I think they're dropping in like Reno, Idaho, all those places that people move to get away from everybody. And now are going, you know what, this is not what I really wanted.
Well, and it's kind of,
because I'm helping people come back, just so you know.
Huh, good.
Yeah.
I think what happens is people see on the news, 26% of homes that were listed had price reductions, right? Mm-hmm. And that really has nothing to do with, the real estate market itself. It has to do with the sellers and their expectations,
right?
And just listing a little too high to begin with. And when they say price reduction, we're talking, I mean, I'd say
$1,000,
10,000 at most, that's kind of like the average, 5 to 10,000. So it sounds really dramatic, right? Like I've seen some listings where they came down, say they were listed, in the high 8s, they had to come down like 60 grand to get into contract. But
but they were overpriced to begin with. The question is, what does appraisal come in at? Most of the appraisal that are coming in right now are coming in over what the house was listed for on average, or right at still. And that's just because people are worried. So they priced it a little bit lower and then got the offer. So, but I mean, there's so much equity in people's homes. And when you have a 2% interest rate or 2.99 or 3.25, most people don't want to move right now. And so, I mean, if they're only doing it if they have to. Where before people were like, hey, let's move up to that house we always wanted because, it's the payments are going to be the same, right?
Yeah.
Now the payment's going to be $1,000 more. Let's just stay here.
Well, I'm going to say let's
put a pool in.
A couple of my sellers right now are moving out of state. So we still do have some people leaving the state. Right. You said you have some,
I have people coming back,
huh?
Yeah. From Reno.
Okay.
Just because, again, it has to do with job transfers, this. You're still going to have people moving, but you're just not going to have people moving just to get out of the big city like we did. Those people moved already.
Well, it was funny because over the weekend I had a realtor reach out to me from Middleton, Tennessee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he asked if I had any people coming that way. I was like, no, I was like, but you haven't even come my way. Let me know. Because I do think that some folks, in kind of a knee-jerk reaction, just kind of left the state.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see after a year or two if people say, you know what, I don't know if I can handle the South.
Right. Well, a lot of people are still moving out because they don't like the politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
How California, those are usually older. And then you have people who move who go, I don't like the weather where I moved to. I want to move back. That's why we always said when people were leaving, before you sell your house, go there for the worst time of the year and make sure you can handle it, because you might go there and then go, I hate this. I don't like this. I don't like the weather. I don't like this. Some people do. That's okay.
Yeah.
You have to live and where you want, whatever that is. If you like California, stay in California. If you don't, move out. Don't worry about it. Just do your life the way you need to do it and stop listening to the noise.
Yeah, exactly. Just turn off the news and all of a sudden, life is going to come into focus.
Because right now there's huge opportunities and even more coming. So you need to get pre-approved, get ready to go so you can take advantage of these opportunities.
Exactly.
All right, Bobby, thanks for being here.
Thank you,
Make it
Ed.
a great day. Thank you for watching.